Today we're going to talk about what, in my opinion, are one of the more problematic players at your table, the rules lawyer. Hello and welcome. So today I want to talk about why you should not be a rules lawyer. Now, by rules lawyer, I'm not talking about someone who, knows all the rules. They like to see the game played by the rules. No, a rules lawyer isn't like that. Think about a lawyer. A lawyer is a person that argues, and they're arguing to their advantage, and they argue in order to harm the other person's point in a trial so that they win. A typical rules lawyer is doing the same thing. They will argue rules to their benefit, but quite often they will argue rules to the detriment of other players at the table. And a lot of the times, the biggest issue with a rules lawyer is they're going to argue minutia, and they ignore the most important rule, and that's rule 0, that the dungeon master is always right. The biggest thing that I see with rules lawyers is they will try to argue to get a rule played so it goes to their benefit. It may not be the way the rule, if you're playing raw, so it's rules as written. It doesn't say that, but he's going to try to pick some odd sentence, word, or something out of the rules to try to justify what he wants to do. And the reality is, let's say you turn around and do the same thing to them, they're going to flip out because they're going to say it's not written that way. So usually the rules lawyer is one of the most unreasonable jackasses you can have at your table. Now, the other thing that you're going to have a rules lawyer doing all the time, and that is sitting there telling other players at the table, you can't do that. I'll give you a prime example. When we were playing 4th edition, I made a charging rogue, and I used roundabout charge. And if you didn't take that feat, then you did have to charge at least 10 feet in a straight line in order to charge. Well, with roundabout charge, you could literally stand in front of the guy, run around the back side, and that was considered a charge. So you didn't have to move in a straight line. Now, I researched this character. I wanted to make sure I had the charge ability on it because that was the point of building it. And the first time I did this, the guy just flipped out. You can't do that. You can't do that. I said, yes, I can. It's right here. In fact, I even used the wizard's character builder in order to put it in, and it always gave detailed descriptions. And he wouldn't even buy that. So he kept arguing and arguing until I pulled the book out and told him to shut up. It's legal. And the whole time the DM was laughing because he knew it was legal. And he's just shaking his head when I was giving my argument, saying, yes, he's correct. And the guy wouldn't stop. So, I mean, that's a typical rules lawyer. They're going to do stuff to mess with other players, even though, there's no benefit to them to doing it. They're just being a jackass. So that's the worst case scenario of a rules lawyer. They're going to sit there and argue and try to harm another player's character by doing what they're doing. Now, there are a couple of ways to deal with a rules lawyer. As a DM, the harshest and easiest thing to do if they won't stop, my rule is you give them a single warning. If you pull this again, you're gone. And if they do it again, I tell them, you're no longer welcome, please leave the table, and they're not going to be allowed to play anymore because I'm not going to waste. The thing with a rules lawyer, they will waste a ton of your time. It's not like it's going to be a 30-second argument. It's going to be a major 10-minute ordeal every time they start on whatever it is they decide to get on, like a dog on a bone. And it's just going to waste time at the table. Now, with a lot of game events that you'll play at, you have limited time. So you don't have time for, every couple of minutes or every few turns or every combat to waste an extra 10 minutes at the table with these kinds of people. In a private game, it just becomes soul draining to have to deal with this crap because they're doing it constantly throughout gameplay. It's not a matter of they're just going to do it once. They'll do it the whole time. telling different players, you can't do that. You know, arguing with the DM over rules to their benefit, getting pissed off when you're doing the rules as written and they don't like that it's harming their character. So they're just going to argue and argue and argue. I don't know why. Maybe they're socially inept, maybe there's something wrong with them, but you know, you don't want this at your table. So you give them a warning. If they don't follow through and behave, then you kick them off the table. The other option is, and I've done this with some rules lawyers, and they leave the table anyway. I keep telling them to stop. They won't stop, and every roll I roll from that point forward is a crit, and every damage that I roll is max damage. And I will crit them to death because they won't stop and behave themselves. And if you do that, they're going to quit. They'll get the message. You know, the other thing that I would have no problem with as a DM is if the players are going, you know, stop it, and they won't listen. They won't listen to the DM. They won't listen to the players. If the players decide, all right, let's kill this character, and they kill him, I have no problem with that. Kill the character. And maybe he'll turn around. He'll either get mad and leave, or he'll realize nobody's going to put up with his crap. And it's possible that no one else in the entire area wants to play with this guy, and you might be his last chance. So, you know, if either you kill him or the whole table sits down and just murders this guy, then yeah, he might turn around because you're the last stop on the train as far as them being able to play sometimes. You know, because these people get a reputation and nobody wants to play with them eventually. Sorry for the interruption, tornado warning, all that kind of stuff, so I had to listen to it. But as I said, these players, a lot of times you're the end of the line. So if your table is frustrated with it, and if you want to take them aside, you know, let the guy leave before everybody else does, and maybe talk to your players and say, look, he's not going to listen to me. I can either kick him off or give him the option, kill him, and tell him if he doesn't stop that you guys are going to kill him all the time. And I'm sure that they're going to be just as frustrated with the behavior as you are. But if you're a rules lawyer, as I was saying, you need to either stop or decide to man up and DM. If you know the rules that well, then get behind the screen and run the game. Now, if you're the kind of person you're like, oh, I don't like the DM, I just want to play, that's fine, but stop your behavior, because no one, absolutely no one at the table is happy having you there. You're making the game more difficult for every other player at the table, and you're making the game unbearable for the DM as well. I don't care if you like it or not, but Rule 0 is the DM is always right, and once they say no, you need to shut up and move on. And the reality is, these words should never come out of your mouth to another player. You can't do that. The second you do that, the DM should be warning you and telling you, no, you don't tell them a damn thing. If I have no problem with what they're doing, and what they're doing is legal as far as I'm concerned, then you need to shut up. And if you can't live with that, then you shouldn't be playing with the group. Now, if you don't like it, maybe you need to find something else to do. Go play video games where rules are absolute and it's difficult to break them unless you have something with cheat codes. And if you're a rules lawyer, you shouldn't want to put cheat codes in and cheat the game. You should want to play by the rules. But if you're a rules lawyer that can't stop and you can't behave at the table, you can't stop telling other players you can't do that, or arguing with the DM, then tabletop RPGs are not the thing for you. You need to just find something else to do with your time. So, you know, just remember, don't be a rules lawyer. No one likes you. That's it for today. We will see you next week, and hopefully we'll have another couple of videos put up. I'm going to try to start doing 2 to 3 a week, and I was going to do a different format instead of in the car. I decided to use the lav mic to see if it helps with the sound today, but I wasn't able to because we had thunderstorms and stuff all day long, as the tornado warning we just had kind of let me know. So we'll see you next week, and I'm probably going to have a parenting vid up. I still want to talk about some of the stuff in D&D itself with the current state of the modules in the game, and we'll have some other videos going up. But thanks for watching. Hit the like and subscribe button down below, and we'll see you next time.